welcome to the Tolleson-Mack podcast. I'm pretty excited about having this guy on. I mean, he can talk a lot about feed, but he's the main sponsor behind the Equinety rope horse Futurity. And John, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I first learned about this product. It was actually marketed to the human crowd, 50-plus crowd up in Canada back in 1998. And I learned about it in 2008-ish, 2008, and got it into Major League Baseball as a sports supplement. So I had some buddies in Major League Baseball, and so it was the same product. We just put a different label on it. So it was the better, faster, stronger, and that's the way we kind of went with it. And then 2012-14 timeframe, I worked out a deal to use the same formula. We put it in a tub and called it Equinety. Now, it had been used on animals, dogs, horses, and cats through the years, but had never been marketed strictly to the horse industry. And so it's just kind of taken off on a life of its own.
Man, has it? You see it everywhere. Mm-hmm. You don't turn on a TV on the Cowboy Channel to watch somebody rope or something that you don't see it, you know?
Especially the rodeo horses nowadays, they get stressed out a lot traveling, and it just helps their joints and just helps them all around. And it's hard to tell people how the traveling is probably the worst thing you can do to the horses. Not so much the roping and stuff; it's loading them up in the trailer after you get in. And this Equinety is a great product for that, for the performance type horse.
So without getting too technical or too scientific, I mean, what's it do? I mean, I'm a normal everyday guy. Got 4 horses in my stalls, and I wanna start using your product.
Well, I grew up in Bristow, Oklahoma, so I had to keep it simple for me.
We're straight out of Tolleson, Arizona. We're gonna need you to keep it simple for us too.
Yeah. Well, what's unique about this product is, it's funny because when we first started getting it in feed stores, they needed to know where to put it. Does it fit into the shiny coat category or the gut category or the joint category? And
we need a new shelf.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what they just had to do. But what makes the product unique is it doesn't fit any specific supplement category. And what it's designed to do is stimulate the pituitary gland, which is a gland that releases hormones. And now the body can send its own hormones to its own problem areas. So typically what we found, horses that have stress, anxiety, are a bit spooky, we've seen complete demeanor changes in as little as 2 or 3 days. And, my question is what's causing that stress, anxiety, and the spookiness? Well, there has to be something else that's bothering them, which is causing the stress and anxiety. Right. So if you can give the body what it needs to repair itself, and those aches and pains aren't there anymore, then now you don't have the stress and anxiety. Logically, that makes sense to me. Okay?
100%.
Yeah. So in about a week to 2 weeks, people are typically noticing the recovery, the stamina, the focus. They just feel better under saddle. 2 weeks to 30 days, they're slicking out, softer, shinier coat. They're filling out top line, hip area. And longer term use, the overall hoof quality, the sole depth, the joints. I've lost count of the number of people that have been able to reduce the number of injections, sometimes skip a whole year. You know what? Again, it all depends on Mother Nature. And this isn't the magic powder, although people do call it that. But it's not
magic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you still have to have a good feeding program and all of those things. It's just this is really helping to fill in a lot of those voids, a lot of mystery lameness type things. Injured horses come back quicker. You get the overall hoof quality, the soft tissue. I mean, it really just customizes to what the horse needs.
Oh yeah, and I mean, in all fairness, somebody that's going to feed something like this, they've most likely got their horses on a good feed regimen. I mean, guys that are going to take care of a horse and want to get to this level where we're at, to ropings and rope horse futurities, and I mean, even the guy riding the trail riding horse. You know what I mean? They want the best performance out of whatever you put in.
Yeah, years ago, so we've been on 10 years on the market. And, I have a sales and marketing background, and when you run an ad in a magazine, for example, or in the old days, a newspaper, and if you got a 1 or 2% conversion rate, that was considered successful, and you'll probably go broke pretty quick. Well, when we first started, our little sample tells were actually 30 days. And so the only place you could buy it was through our website. So I gave away, I don't know how many of these through our website, and then I watched the conversions come in, and we had a 30 to 33% conversion rate. And so then I figured out, well, if I get with centers of influence, people that are, have clients, whether that be through trainers or chiropractors or massage, whatever, well, their percentage went up 99+%. I mean, so, when you get to the everyday rider, the trail riders, or just, even if you have, the old horse, it's the pasture ornament. And I tell people all the time, if you really want to see this work on a horse, just go put it on one of your old horses out there. They're going to slick out. They're going to be running around bucking and playing. Odds are very high that's what's going to happen because they just feel good.
Right.
I got to see that. I wish I had this in my barn when I was rodeoing on Johnny Ringo, my old bay horse. He's got big knees now, navicular, and he's sore. My little boy rides him and runs barrels on him, pole bends on him, ropes on him, all that stuff. So he won some Equinety. I started giving it to him, and I noticed that he was a little more frisky, jumping, playing, having a good time. Like going to the arena in the barrel racing. I mean, his head was up and his chest had poked out, and he thought he was pretty cool out there. And a little 7-year-old sitting on him thought that was just the coolest thing ever. And you can just tell his demeanor, like he felt good. Like that's kind of what we need for the rodeos. Is we're gonna haul them, and the next morning, if we get on them, they feel good. We feel like we're gonna win something, but like it's in our mind. When our horse is a little bit sore, like I just can't ask this horse for everything. But get out there rodeo. We need 100% out of this horse. So this product is a game changer.
Yeah, it really, really is. And when you look at all of the when we first got into the Western side of things. Of course, we were kind of introduced into the barrel racing side, and of course, I was always told to stay away from the team ropers. They don't care.
I think events like this show you that's not true.
This was going back probably 6-7 years ago, but all of that is, and you guys, I mean, I've seen it in the last 3, but probably closer to 4 years. It has massively changed, and especially with the price of horses, it's hard to replace ones. So you got to keep care of the ones that you do have.
You get out what you put in.
Right. Yeah. And so, if you're really looking for something to really help your horse overall, I mean, it's $1 a day. I mean, all the benefits that you get. And people, I mean, this is what people tell us all the time. They're typically saving anywhere from 20 to 40% in vet bills and other supplements. And it's...
Why is it that $1 a day sounds more expensive than $30 a month?
That's a good question.
What I mean? Like if you say, "Oh, this is $30 a month," you're like, "Oh, shit, give me 2 of them." You say it's $1 a day, you're like, "Oh fuck, that's $1 on top of the $22 hay." $30. I think you should change it to $1 a month.
But this tub here actually is a 90-day, 3-month supply. It's $100. There's actually about 150.
We show everybody the other. Yeah.
So we came out with this product about 3 years ago with the help of a veterinarian who was already using the amino acids, and I think it was really more of a selfish play on his part because he just wanted a good quality oil.
So he was already using that.
He was already using that, and he says, "Hey, have you ever thought about coming out with any more products?" I said, "Well, no, not
Here's
for this."
one I could really use.
Yeah, that's right. So it was Dr. Zach Brogan out of Arkansas, and I said, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Well, I'm a big fan of oils." I went, "Are you serious right now? Like, how many oils?" He goes, "I know, but there's just not anything good." Now, the thing I was educated on this as well, but if you're using an oil product, you just want to make sure that it's a good quality omega-3 based product. Okay. So, for example, what's not is vegetable, corn, soy. It's real high in omega-6s, which is causing inflammation internally. So you're going to look
So you're going backwards.
Right. So they look good on the outside, but the inside, there's a lot of inflammation. So a flaxseed is a great omega-3 rich product. So this is a flaxseed-based omega-3 product. It's got 1,000 IUs of natural cold-pressed vitamin E and colloidal silver all in one. And it's not that there's anything unique with any one of the 3 ingredients, but there's just nothing on the market that has all 3 together. So this is a powerhouse of an anti-inflammatory, and it works with the amino acids to give those repaired cells some nutrition. So go ahead.
So I just had a question. So when you're doing research, the guy from Arkansas calls you and says, "Hey, we need another oil," and you're like, "Oh yeah, we need another oil in the market." But when you get off the phone, you strike me as the guy that's going, "Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna call the Caesars. I'm gonna call the Dakotas. I'm gonna call the I'm gonna call these.
Tyler Wade was the very first one.
I'm gonna call T Wade and say, hey, what do you think about this? Is that kind of how it goes, or
The way this one went is because our branding was starting to get pretty strong at the time. This is going back probably 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we spent a full year doing field trials really with him and his horses, the vet, before we came out with it. And then because my thought, being a marketing background, I believe we have one of the best products on the market for what it does. So I brand super heavy. And then my thought was, well, if we come out with another product that's a superior product, it works in combination with what we have. It's a perfect fit. So people that are already using the Equinety Horse Excel are naturally going to use this regardless because they know the quality of this. We're going to put out another quality product. I have zero intentions of coming out with anything else that could change it. It would just have to make sense. But there's so many products.
I guess that's what I'm getting. It seems to me like that's the kind of company you're going to work with with you guys. Is it has to make sense to you.
Right.
You're saying we use this and it's baseball players use it. But then we thought about it and we worked on it and it made sense to us.
Yeah, and you mentioned T Wade. So Nick Griggs over at the Team Roping Journal cold called me it must have been around 3 years ago. And when I answered the phone, I said, boy, if this is not an old roping cowboy, I don't know what one is. Hey, John. Yeah. Hey. Anyways, so he was
burning daylight.
So he was wanting me to advertise in the Team Roping Journal. So of course I, said, well, send me whatever. I was just trying to get rid of him essentially because I said I don't advertise in magazines, and of course I've been advertising ever since. Thank you, Nick Griggs. Anyways, but I told him
we love the Team Roping Journal.
Oh, yeah, that's great. It's been really great for us. But at the time, my problem was I didn't have any team ropers, and so I wasn't just going to run an ad. I needed somebody to, put their name behind it. So I called Danita Walker, and she's been using product. She has a rehab facility out of Lipan, Texas, and so she's been using product for 6 years. Every horse that comes in a rehab facility, she puts on product because it helps with the repairing process. And so I told her the situation, and I said, I need a team roper like yesterday. She goes, all right, let me make a phone call. So she calls me back. She goes, I have the perfect couple for you. I said, who's that? She goes, T. Wade and Jesse. And at the time, if you remember, I believe it was his horse Fonzie had both front legs had fractures, and I think was supposed to be out for a year.
Was it the Big Bay?
I believe so, and came back in 6 months. So with an injured horse, and so they had been using product for a year already, and so it was a natural fit. So we brought him on board, and then he was the first guy we ran in the Team Roping Journal, and then he introduced me to T. Wade and Patrick Smith, and that's kind of how it all went. But with all these guys, and I think from the outside looking in, when you look and you've got all the top guys and the gals, I never approached any of them, and it was all word of mouth. And the ones that I was introduced to, I explained the product and I said, hey, here's what it is, here's what it does. I'll send it to you and take as long as you want. If it takes a month, 2 months, 3 months, if you like it, let's work something out. And typically it's around 3 weeks.
Nice.
And
so you see the change that fast?
30 days, if you're not seeing changes, you're probably not feeding the product.
You're probably not doing it right.
Right. Yeah. And one other thing I'll throw in there too, it's 1 scoop a day with the amino acids.
And then this is
2 ounces a day.
Okay. Pretty easy little ounce deal thing.
Yep. But one of the things that through the years, so when you give a scoop in the morning as an example, so the hormones are released from the pituitary and basically have a 23.5-hour life cycle. Those hormones do. That's why you give it every day.
That makes sense.
So what we found with the working horses, you're hauling, or an injured horse, if you give a scoop in the morning and a scoop in the evening, now you're keeping the hormone levels elevated all the time, so it really helps promote faster recovery. So if you're really hauling a lot and really working your horses harder, if you have an injured horse, would recommend 2 scoops a day. But it's something that you can try. So you can try 1 scoop for 30 days and see how that works, and then do 2 scoops and see what works best for you.
Yeah, kind of play with it a little bit too. Because I imagine everybody's horse is different. I mean, there might be guys listening on here that think, man, I really haul my horse a lot, and they go from Buckeye to Wickenburg once a week.
I compare.
When guys say they haul their horse, they're hauling their horse.
I compare these horses to like football players a little bit, right? They're taking hits, they're running, they're cutting, they're doing certain things like that, and I feel like anything to help the muscles rebuild themselves and little things like the people do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's got to help out for the horses. And that right there, helping them feel better, was, to me, when a horse feels good in his body, he's going to score and work better. Mm-hmm. If especially running, right? He's got to run to steer. If it hurts to run, he's not going to score good. He's not going to give the 100. Yeah, exactly. Give you the 90 because he's your horse. Because he loves you and he's trying for you. But like if they feel good, they're going to give you 100%. That's what we're after out there.
No, absolutely. Well, it's like as we all age and you feel the little pain in the back, and
I can feel it.
Man, me and that chiropractor got to know her. She says, "Oh yeah, just come back if you guys want to film the podcast here." She's regretting saying that. Yeah. She's working on me nonstop.
But it's the same thing. If you don't feel good, you can't get 100%, and the horse can't tell you verbally. I mean,
if it hurts to run, you're not going to want to run. Yeah. So like, if it feels good to run, you're going to run all you want to.
And I think one other important thing too, for everybody to know. Because I get this question a lot, should we stop using whatever supplements or products and start using this? What I always tell people is don't change anything you're currently doing and just add this 1 scoop. That way we're changing one element because you already have a baseline. You know what stuff's doing and not doing. Now over the next 30 days, you can decide whether to reduce or stop using other things. And this is typically where people are saving quite a bit of money because they realize, well, I'm probably just feeding this and this and this because it makes me feel better, right? It may not be helping the horse that much, but, they'll be able to definitely tell in 30
I want to see a result.
That's exactly right.
Like if I could see something with a coach shining.
Everybody wants to see a fast result. Like whatever you do. So when you say 3 weeks, 3 weeks to me is fast.
I want to see a fast result.
I mean, that's fast. Everybody wants to see that. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're playing cards, feeding a horse, flipping a quarter. You want a fast result.
Yeah. So we started a thing years ago called the Equinety 30-Day Challenge, and so we would give away 30 days of product. So you take a picture on day 1, day 15, and day 30. Because again, if you're around your horse every day, it's hard to see some of the subtle changes. But when you can compare the pictures, then you're like, holy smokes! It's like they're slicking out. They get more of a top line. And there was a old guy, Ducky Keller's his name. He's an old barrel racer out in Virginia. And I was introduced to him when we were first getting into the Western world. And when I was introduced to him, I'll just say he was very cordial.
That's awesome.
Which is fair enough because it's, again, he's heard it all, seen it all, done it all. And so about 2 months later, I run into him in Oklahoma City and we chat quite a bit. And so I gave him some product. And then 2 months later, I see him back in Georgia. And it was the event was over and I see him walking across the parking lot. And I said, "Hey, Ducky." And he turned around. He goes, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I said, "Good." I said, "How's that product working out?" He says, "Well, I'll tell you this." He goes, "I've been trying to get a top line on a mare for 2 years. Nothing to work." He goes, "But that stuff did."
I got a yellow horse at home that's begging for some Equinety, I think. Same deal. And I mean, we feed good. Hey, we feed everything. Rah!
Yeah.
But sometimes it needs just a little bit extra right there.
Yeah. So
what do you think about, I mean, aside from the feed and the product, what do you think about events like this? From me, a guy just watching, I really enjoyed it because they showed the horse more than the header being able to throw 30 feet. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, and it's like our tagline, it's all about the horse. I mean, because why else are we doing this? Really, when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, right?
That's why I do it.
Yeah. And, with the product, it's like it's helping the horse. And then going back to the hauling and especially in the younger horses, we need them to focus and the recovery and they're in new environments and all this kind of stuff. So keeping the stress down. So events like this, it's funny, back in just this last year at the NFR, I was talking to Miles Baker and he says, he goes, everything's going towards the Futurities. And I said, okay, how do I get in front of that? Because I don't recall doing anything with Futurities at this point. And he says, well, you already are. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, you have all these rodeo guys are going to figure out that they can make money just as much over here in the fraternities versus being all the time on a rodeo. I said, okay, how do I get in front of that? Because it was not clicking. Well, 2 days later, I run into Billy Myers, and he goes, hey, I'm putting on a fraternity. And
Just like that.
he goes, I was hoping you might want to, be the title sponsor. I go, I'm in. I didn't even ask him price or anything. I was like, I'm in. Now here you are. I mean, it hadn't even been a year.
Yeah.
And
we just talked to Billy, and I mean, I don't know Billy from nobody, but what I could see him sitting here, and some people might disagree with me, but he was pretty humble about this event. From zero to me watching it, I'm excited. Like, I'm ready to come to the next one already.
yeah,
And I'm just the casual fan, team rope a little bit when Brandon and me got time. I mean, it's just fun, And I thought it was really, really cool.
of course, Billy and I have chatted a lot since this last December, just everything leading up to this. And, of course, a couple weeks ago, he's getting the jitters, which is, hey, it's your first event.
Yeah.
I said, he has surrounded himself with such an awesome team behind the scenes, which, again, I mean, is important. And, I've been out and about and talking to different guys out here roping in the back pen back there. And everybody seems to be so excited and thankful. They're excited that, somebody one-on-one in particular is like, there is no way I could go head-to-head with a Trevor Brazil and win. And the way this the way this is broken down, it's like I can actually compete and have fun.
Yeah.
And, so they're excited. I mean, so it means a lot to us to be a part of all
I
this.
told him when he was sitting here, I was like, man, for what it's worth, and I don't know how to explain it better than this, but it's just the vibe of this event. Everybody's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody, you talk to everybody, everybody's cool, everybody hangs out, everybody talks. And I mean, you go to some of these things, and even us, we're doing some podcasting around and stuff, and some security guard that got picked on in high school stops you at every gate wanting to know what your badge is and where you think you're going and this and that. And it almost works in Billy's favor that he doesn't have those kind of people, because then we all respect it, right? Like, you don't see guys tying their horses to the panels. Oh, wow, we don't need a sign that says that, because nobody's going to do it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And I think it kind of works in his favor to have that vibe like that. And every time we've asked for anything or asked a question, or if they want us anywhere doing some film, man, whatever, it's first class. And I think with you guys backing him, Trevor coming, Caesar being here, Dakota, all these top, Billy Jack, all these guys, the list goes on and on. It really puts legitimacy into this. Like, I mean, it's the game,
Yeah, and being here at the Lazy E, which is so awesome in and of itself. I mean, the people here, and Dan Wald that manages this place. I mean, they're just all great people all the way around. You get around all the great people, and things go.
Things seem to go great.
Yeah.
Game recognizes game. That's what Brandon always says.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think we'll let you get back to it. I think is there a preview?
Yeah, there's something going on.
Like a little party going on and a preview, and then get ready for the horse sale tomorrow, right?
Looking forward to the free food.
Oh yeah, free food's going on.
Yeah, we're
All
hungry.
right, buddy. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you, John.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.